Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everyone's favorite TikTok. And don't forget, join us for a conversation on Reddit and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
We got Bomber Talk. We got CFL Talk. We got Jet Talk. We got NFL Talk, NHL Talk, awards going on tonight. Do you think we'll know the heart by the end of this episode?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's getting into the second hour. They just announced the Norris of Erik Karlsson, so the heart's got to be right up there.
All right, keep your eye on that. Keep your eye on that. But let's start off with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and a disaster of a game at IG Field Thursday Night Football. I'm trying to forget right now. That's why I don't remember what name it is or what night it was. But let's go with the good, the bad, and the ugly as we do every week. And let's start with the good. What good did you see in the game at IG Field?
Yeah, it was a nice night out for a game.
The weather was good.
You know what? I had to find something. So I'm just going to go with Celestin Haba, who ended up getting his third sack in his third game. So far looking, good out there kind of thing. Needs to get a little bit more pressure more often, which the Bombers were lacking a lot of the other night, but props to him. So the good goes to Haba for his sack.
Okay. I did find a few bright spots, and when it's 30-6 at home, it's really hard to find good spots, but Jamison Sheehan, again, consistent on kicking, averaging gross over 46 yards. I don't put too much into net yards. It depends on, where they are in the field, where position of the kick. So I'm not going to even go on net. That's too much to figure out anyways. Sergio Castillo still chugging along 2 for 2. I'm really impressed by Evan Holm, the defensive back. They picked him up late last year. I believe he played for UND, and he's really coming into his own. That guy can cover a lot of field, and he plays man-to-man really well too. But he got in the way, or he broke up a pass. Sorry, I'll figure it out, in front of the BC bench, and he traveled like 10 to 15 yards to break up that pass. So he can really close in on these receivers, and he can be a ball hawk. So I'm really excited about Evan Holmes, despite the secondary looking a little tough in the last game. Malik Clements still looked good flying around. He got another sack, and before they had to give up on the running game, Brady Oliveira, he was 5.2 yards. We were concerned that he was hurt and might not play. He was getting some good chunks of yards. So there was some good.
Yeah, I mean, there is scattered here and there. I think that Evan Holm one was on Justin McInnes kind of later in the second half. But yeah, that was a great play and how far he tracked over. But yeah, it was rough. Injuries are hurting that secondary right now. So we'll chalk this up. Bad game, bad loss.
Yeah. And speaking of the bat, also Carson Agudosi had a pretty decent game. 4 for 70 something yards, a good big target he's turning out to be. So there was some good scattered in there. Let's talk about the bad. Would you like to go first?
I'm just more so on the D, and I'm not going to blame this loss on the D at all because the offense wasn't very good, but they just struggled to stop Vernon Adams. They struggled to get enough of a pass rush and kind of disrupt him. He had lots of time to sit back there, survey the field, and get a touchdown or get some drives going. I mean, and the one big series of the game to me was the one right before half where the Bombers cut the lead 10-6, 49 seconds left. You're thinking, okay, maybe BC gets a field goal out of this, if anything. But Vernon Adams made it look so easy, drove the ball downfield, and they ended up with a touchdown. And then to me, that kind of ended the game for the Bombers. They were never anywhere closer. Obviously, they didn't score any more points. But that was a big drive, and BC executed on that, and the D just had no answers.
Yeah, and to go with the pass rush, the inability to score, like you mentioned, 2 field goals, that is pretty bad. Then I'll add on to another good, that BC Lions defense. Props to them. All the good doesn't have to be all Bombers, and they were really good. They didn't give up much over the top. If anything, Claire's didn't have much time to really get into a rhythm or for longer routes to develop, and they were actually on receivers pretty good on man-to-man on those short passes. So props to them. Their defense looked good. But yeah, the inability to score was pretty bad. The ugly, the O-line. I'll have to go with the O-line. I'm sorry. The O-line's been one of the strongest things on this team for the past few years, and was just surprised to see them get burnt. Stanley Bryant didn't have a very good game. They took that PFF rating and shoved it down the Bombers' throats hard. 3 sacks by Betts.
Yeah, we talked about him last week being a force and being disruptive. I didn't think he'd be like that, but yeah, he had his way with Bryant, Jeff Gray, Neufeld, like he just had his way. And to me, the ugly is all pretty much the whole offense. Yes, the O-line was bad, but the whole offense altogether just never got in rhythm. 7 sacks for BC. They were all over Carl, so they never let him get settled. They had that first good drive, the Bombers, and you're thinking, okay, but it got aided by a roughing the passer, and that's where kind of BC almost were stepping over the line a little bit with some of those early hits to kind of set a tone, and it seemed like maybe it backed the Bombers down a bit because some of those receivers, even Dalton Schoen, got hit later on. Some of those receivers kind of back down. Dembski, pretty sure-handed, usually drop the ball right into a BC guy's hands. So it was rough. It was not good for that offense, and we'll see if they can bounce back.
Yeah, no one's sleeping on Betts now. I said last week he could be the best defensive player in the league. I wasn't joking. At first I said Canadian, but I'm like, nah, he can be the best defensive player in the league. And if he keeps putting up 3 sacks like that against a good O-line, ooh.
Do you think BC having Michael Couture helped them at all in this situation? He would know a lot of the calls. He may know some formations and give them some ideas, if a guy's standing like this, do this kind of thing or something. Because
absolutely.
BC seemed like they knew what they wanted. They knew what they wanted to do, and they knew that it was going to almost win every time because they were just beating the Bombers and beating Stanley Bryant easily.
Yeah, that's definitely a factor. But then when it becomes 30-6, they were mauled. Like they're physically being beaten on the line. Both sides, both lines were being dominated. So, of course, having someone who's so close to the team for so long, who called a lot of the blocks that they saw on the line, of course, they would know a lot. So definitely some tells from Michael Couture, no doubt. Some more ugly stuff. I was really pissed off at some fans booing around me. It was the first time I've heard booing around me towards the Bombers in a long time. And it's like, come on, week 3, they're playing a really good team. Some people just got to shut their mouths. Like, you look like an idiot booing at this point in the year. You really do. You really do.
It's hard not to. Sometimes I don't blame them necessarily, but yeah, we've had it so good for the last 3-4 years here, right? So it's tough to watch that display out there, and sometimes you just get frustrated. I'm sure most Bomber fans who ended up booing in that game were probably thinking about it the next day and probably wishing they didn't or whatever. Didn't need to. We've seen the Bombers bounce back. They got beat bad last year in Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
They bounced back and ended up making a Grey Cup, losing by a point. So it's a long season. It's only week 3. It's a tough beat, and props to BC, like you said. They came out. Last year was a lot of hype on BC, when they met in week 5 there, and it was all BC, right? And then Winnipeg put a stop to that this time BC had some answers.
They were ready from when they walked on the field, and they did walk on the field. When they called BC, they didn't like jog or run hard. They walked like they had work to do, and they worked the Bombers hard. So let's give the grades out for week 3 in the CFL. This time we're going to go from east to west, because people in the east always complain, oh, you got to wait till the end. It's worth the wait, but still we'll start with the east because we got love for the east. Let's start with Montreal. What kind of grade you got for Montreal?
I'm going to give Montreal a B. Definitely a good game for them against Hamilton. And again, it's only Hamilton for me. So right now, but Cody Fajardo looked good again. 2 touchdowns, ran one in. Austin Mack is looking good at wide receiver. I could almost bump this up to a B+ a little bit, but just because it was just against Hamilton, another backup quarterback, Schultz did not look good. But props to Montreal so far. They've gotten it done. Yes, they've probably played 2 out of the 3 weaker teams in the league. But hey, they've got the wins. And so far, some moves by Danny Machocha, like Deontay Evans and Mustafa Johnson. Some great signings so far.
I give Montreal the B+ on this one. Fajardo did look steady, 19 for 25, 2 TDs, almost 300 yards. And he spread the ball around to 6 different receivers. So he's looking good the way he kind of looked in Saskatchewan when he had protection. Their defense is really looking good. They can really stop some touchdowns. Of course, like you said, the competition is a little suspect, but a little less than who they play next week at Con Canada Day, which is the Bombers. So they could be in a really good position to possibly beat a shell-shocked Bomber squad with that defense. And Fajardo playing steady. He wants to beat the Bombers.
Oh, for sure.
He's not going to hit a goalpost. Maybe he will. Let's go for Hamilton. I give them the F this week. Is Steinhauer losing the locker room? Like Chris Edwards looked a little... I don't want to insult someone, but that was horrible. Why would you do that? That's a high school move. The team is fighting with each other in public. They don't seem like they can get on track, and they desperately need this bye week. So I give him an F.
Yeah, I'll give him a D-. That D line looking okay, 4 sacks, but still not in rhythm. and that's exposing the back end of Hamilton, and they're just getting beat up back there. The DBs are just not good enough on offense. Yeah, Schultz got a bunch of yards. Tim White, Duke Williams over 100, but James Butler this time only 14 yards. Leggio was 4 for 4. Hey,
Yeah, he's good.
Bo Levi to the 6 game injured, so we'll see what happens, but it's not looking good for Hamilton and Steinauer so far.
What's the grade you got for the Toronto Argonauts?
I am giving them a B plus. Me, offense looked good. Chad Kelly, good performance. Threw a couple interceptions, one of them not so good. And then Purifoy took it back for a pick 6. AJ Olette, he's looking good so far, man. Unreal running by that guy. Every time I see him, I'm like, he doesn't look like a prototypical running back, but then he rips off some big yards and tough to take down. So he gave up a bunch of yards, but they had some timely turnovers to change that game around, and 6 sacks for them too.
Yeah, I give them an A-. They had a 3-headed running monster game going on. We let 3 TDs. That Adeboboye, almost 7 yards a carry, and Harris put in 6 for 32, 5 yards, tough running. Chad Kelly wasn't that good off and on in his own words, but they drew Edmonton this week, so don't necessarily need his A game, but Toronto A-. Winnipeg, I'm going to give them the F. They got their asses kicked. No unit particularly played well in the battle of the 2-0 teams. Kind of, I don't know. I'm still disappointed, so I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'll hit with a D- as well. Disappointing effort all around from the Bombers. Not what you expect from them in any game, especially at home with the crowd behind them and everything like that. You expect a better effort, but props to BC. And hey, a lot of fans are loving this out there right now, and even some broadcasters, they love the fact that the Bombers got whooped. So
yeah,
enjoy it.
Well, let's talk about your boy Ballsy and his team Saskatchewan. What kind of grade do you give them? Don't even get me started on this guy. He's a cool guy.
It's funny because Saskatchewan fans have been louder than BC fans have been about this. It's like
Are we surprised?
BC fans have the right to brag right now if they want to, but it's Saskatchewan fans that are bragging for some reason because the Bombers lost. Anyways, I digress. I'm going to give Saskatchewan a B. Morrow to me looked good, carrying the ball. They finally got that running game going, 133 yards. But it still wasn't all roses for Saskatchewan. They almost blew a 10-point lead here. Craig Dickinson still making questionable calls. You have a chance to go up by 11. Instead, you try for the 2-pointer, miss it, and now you're only up by 10, which allowed Calgary to ultimately tie the game late. So another good week for Harris. But Saskatchewan right now, 2-1. So far, good start.
I give Saskatchewan a B on this one. They beat a decent Calgary team in Calgary in overtime. Trevor Harris did not look as effective as he did against the Bombers, which was kind of surprising, but it kind of might be a telling sign about the Bomber defense and the condition that they're in right now. But like you said, Morrow was good, and I'm really liking the linebacker play of CJ Revis, and Larry Dean is balling out as well. So Saskatchewan gets the B. And let's talk about the team they played against, Calgary. They're going to get a D from me. They stayed in the game. They have a good defense, but Jake Meyer is suspect at this point, and they might have lost Malik Henry for the season.
They did.
Good for Calgary of getting over 24,000. Shout out to Paradis for hitting that 53-yarder to tie the game and send it to OT. But man, if you don't have a quarterback, as we see in many teams in this league, you won't get too far. So Calgary gets that D. Maybe D plus because they had stood in there. Okay, D plus. Sorry, I changed it.
All right, I'll give them a C- and kind of work them up a little bit. They took the game to overtime. Jake Meyer did not look good. 3 interceptions, and all 3 of them were very costly, especially the last one of the game, which ended up giving Saskatchewan ultimately the win. Plus, you lost Reggie Bagleton, 6-game injured right before the game. Malik Henry now Achilles, he's out for the year. You already lost Kadeem Carey, and now Peyton Logan is also hurt. So they got a bye week to maybe figure things out. But yes, Calgary right now is in trouble.
Boy, let's talk about the other Alberta team, Edmonton. Talking about teams in trouble. Horrible. They started good and they went bad. I'm giving them a D. Chris Jones benching and then subsequently cutting Kai Loggsley as a quarterback. That's not going to scare anyone on the team, man. That old school bullying is not going to affect these players the way it used to. They probably are not going to trust you, and they're probably playing scared now. I don't know what's up with this dude. I'm sorry, Edmonton. You are in trouble.
Yeah, I give him a D-. 19 games now, losses at home, gave up 6 sacks, D-line struggle. bad fumble even by Eugene Lewis right on the goal line. That could have helped him get closer in that game. How do you do that?
Yeah.
To me, with Chris Jones, as far as I was reading today with Kyle Oxley, he ended up getting cut because I think he wanted him to go back in at some point for a short yardage play, and Kai didn't go back in or didn't want to go back in. So I think that's ultimately why he ended up getting cut.
That's news to me.
But him being benched right off a fumble right away is maybe a little bit of a strong move altogether, but we'll see what happens. They got the Red Blacks next week. This new Jared Doge, if I'm saying that properly, the quarterback.
Dogie,
is that it? All right.
I believe so.
We'll see how he does. He was a gunslinger out there yesterday, but a lot of mistakes still. I mean, the guy's still young, so we'll see what happens there, but not good.
Okay, so he fumbled the first snap.
Yeah.
He came out of the game.
He got benched after that.
Got benched.
Yeah.
Chris Jones asked him to go in for the short yardage. He's like, nah.
Something with, I mean, even when he got benched, he stood off to the side by himself, not with his teammates or anything like that. And then as far as the story went, I think he was supposed to go in at some play for a short yardage, didn't want to or didn't go or something. So
yeah, I could lay off. I could push the brakes on what I said about Chris Jones, but I still won't at this point.
He still doesn't know what's going on right now, man.
Not a fan, especially if Cornelius gets a start again. Oh my God.
No, I can't see that happening.
There's no way.
Yeah, I can't see that happening. Yeah, at this point, you got to move on and see what these other.
And how about Trey Lance? Just play him already.
Trey Lance now. He's on there.
Trey Ford, I'm just playing. I remember Trey Young too. Let's move on to the BC Lions. A+, obviously, they beat the team. They proved it in every phase of the game. They even stopped Janarian Grant. Couldn't get much going with him. It's like every time they punted, I was like, okay, here it is. We'll break it open now. No. So full marks to BC and Rick Campbell for dominating the Bombers.
Yep. A+ for me as well. Ryan Phillips, masterful plan on D. I don't know if he spent all winter studying this offense or what, but he knew exactly what to do, and BC's D knew exactly what to do. So props to him. He was a big factor in his game, and BC's D was. We'll see. They got Toronto next week, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah, someone was studying some tape. That was pretty good. CFL fans, put your team grades or other team grades in the comments below. Question: what has Genius Sports done for the CFL? This is coming off the heels of the commissioner, Randy Ambrosi, recently saying this is not a failure in regards to statistics and the website. This is what happens when you do a full technology reset. So what are they doing? Have they done anything successful? I don't know what Genius has done. Are they really geniuses?
Yeah, they've created a mess. That's what they have been successful at, really. Yeah. Okay, fine. You want to change the system, and reading what they want to do with the chips and the football and all that stuff sounds exciting enough, but that stuff should have been ready for the beginning of the season. Yeah. You've had since November now here to get this thing going. You can't just wipe out an old system altogether and bring in a new one and then not have a fallback if the new one doesn't work. Do you think the NFL would actually not have a backup option at all?
Not at all.
So it's a ridiculous right now. And Ambrosi's fate is kind of, to me, on the line here, because it's been a lot of stumbling or bumbling lately for the CFL.
All the way through.
Yeah. And now you have this, which is the latest 3 weeks. Like, you can't even look up stats at all for any game on TSN, anything.
What are they doing?
Yeah, it's embarrassing right now at this point.
You're not reinventing the wheel here. I look at the leagues, even like the CEBL or the American Association of Pro Baseball that the Gold Eyes play in. They have superior websites with statistics that are easily accessible and nice to look at.
Yeah.
Like, what we go on the CFL, what the hell are we looking at here? Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. I could care less about statistics with a chip in a football if I don't know how much career yards Zach Caleros have. I have to go on Stat Crew on a totally different website to see people's career and add it up myself. Man, I don't want to do stats. That's why I took Grant's tutoring in university, man. I'm not good at stats. Why should I be doing that when I just need the info? Just get your act together. I don't know what they're doing. And they're all bragging about Game Zone. Come on, man. I can draft one team if I'm in 6 different leagues. Sorry, man.
You sound
negative on this one. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm letting it out, eh? I was thinking about this one on the golf course for sure. I said my piece.
He said early July it'll be done. So we'll see.
And we won't get full stats until later than that.
Oh, the full stats aren't going to be like the old stats, like career stats aren't going to be there. Oh, geez.
Not until like later, like maybe mid to late July.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Embarrassing.
Big time.
CFL fans, any thoughts on that? Go ahead, put him down there. Let's talk about Winnipeg Jets a little bit. What results do the Jets have to achieve for Chevy to keep his job? And we're going off the assumption that the trades go decently well. He's not getting fleeced. We get an okay exchange. What does the team have to do for him to keep his job?
For me or for Chipman? Because it's not that those will be two different things.
yeah. For Chipman, he's finishing that 3-year extension or 2-year, whatever.
For sure.
He's finishing that. But in your opinion,
they got to have a competitive team. So yeah, if these trades all work out, let's go competitive team, make the playoffs. Don't just sneak in. Win a round for me. At least you can maybe survive. Well, he probably does survive if you have a competitive first round, but I'd really love to see at least a win, not happy to be there kind of thing.
Yeah.
And throughout the season, just progress, that the team is actually getting better and they don't have to rely on their goalie to steal wins or play, 60 to 70 games, which we probably won't have with Hellebuck if he's gone. So
exactly.
A lot of that factors into it. Chevy's he's got to put a good team out there, win around, and let us get behind this team.
I'm going to give him the Mike Tomlin exemption. Just get a winning season. After all these, I'll be happy. I say you keep your job just if there's a winning season. Of course, if they have a winning season, that means they're competitive, especially against teams like Colorado and Minnesota. I don't know about Dallas, but Chicago might be making moves. I don't know.
Well, Chicago just traded for Taylor Hall today, so
there you go. So, but I'm just saying that if they have a winning, I could see him keeping his job and finishing out that contract. Losing season, I wouldn't want to bring him back after that.
To me,
if they don't make the playoffs, I'll be okay.
To me, even with the winning season, though, if you're going for a full rebuild or something here, then fine. But they're trying to retool or whatever it is and think they're still going to have a great season with it. To me, I don't know what the Jets. Ultimately, I think they obviously want to win the cup, but I think they're also just happy with making the playoffs and getting a couple games in the playoffs. So
get some revenue, get some scratch.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes you just got to go full rebuild here. But if they can get some good players in these trades, you never know.
All right, Jets fans, what do you want to see Chevy do for him to keep his job? Hot topics. Which NHL trade rumor is the most intriguing / exciting to you? You go first.
It's got to be the Jets ones, especially the PLD trade to possibly the LA Kings, which right now we have heard it's PLD, maybe Jansen Harkins for Gabe Vigliardi and Alex Iafallo, and then plus maybe prospects or picks. So to me, that's the most exciting, and I've been waiting the last couple of days to see this trade go through and see PLD if he's signing that extension with LA or not. But looking forward to see what that deal ends up being ultimately, and then down the line, the Helly and possibly Scheifele trades.
Oh, that's a lot of chunks. A winning season, I'll be happy. The NHL trade rumor that I'm excited. I went outside of Jets Nation for this one. There's kind of buzz about Matt Murray possibly going back to the Penguins and going for ring number 3. It kind of got this like Last Dance. Last time I referenced Last Dance, I said the Hamilton Tiger Cats were going to win the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
So I'm changing that one for sure.
Still lots of season left.
For this week, I'll go with the BC Lions. Then we'll see what happens. Just joking. Which we're talking about that. So Matt Murray, last ride type of scenario, like Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Who knows? Rumors on Josh McDaniel's job security. Should he have job security? Yes. I think they need continuity, and McDaniels should be a part of that. He should be given a chance. Don't think he was given that chance in Denver. With Garoppolo, we know this is a transition plan. He might get lucky, strike gold with some New England Patriot vibe that they had before, but I don't think so. They won't find that Patriot magic. So I think they should give him a couple more years to establish that team. And if not, then you move on. Like, come on.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds like he's getting 2 years no matter what happens, even in this next year. So he'll get a chance. If it turns out bad with Garoppolo this year, he'll get a chance the next year to draft a quarterback and then see where it goes from there. But yeah, I like the fact that teams would like to stick with a coach for longer than a season or two. Josh McDaniels, he didn't have a great season last year. So is he the guy that should be getting that job security? But maybe not, but it's good to see, but he's in a tough division. Kansas City, the Chargers, Denver should be better. So I don't see it going very well for them this year anyways. So
Man, they should have kept Bianchi. They should have kept him. What a Tyreek Hill. Oh, he's in trouble again, hitting some old dude. Is this just a blip? Is this a pattern now? Is Miami even a good destination for players? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's Miami's the problem, but you got a player here who's had past transgressions as well.
Yeah.
And every few years, it seems like it rears its ugly head and he does something stupid, like hitting a 57-year-old at a marina, right? For me, it's a pattern. And Tyreek Hill just seems like he doesn't have control of his temper in all situations. And then you're going to have this every few years. So, yeah, he didn't get suspended for any of the other stuff he did in the past. But I would expect the NFL to suspend him at some point this season.
Yeah, I think it's definitely becoming a pattern. Not good. He's got to find some help somehow, or he's going to ruin his career. He's going to have maybe a couple of years left, and then he might go by the wayside like Antonio Brown. If he doesn't straighten up, Antonio Brown didn't have a successful life in Florida as well. There's some vibe about that city. It's always busy. There's lots going on. The Dolphins aren't really a priority in Miami. Let's be real, man. Come on. There's so much going on in Miami. If they're going to be successful, no, this might not be off subject. I think they should get a new coach. They need an old school coach who doesn't, a Tomlin type character who doesn't take trash and make sure the team is a priority for anything outside of it. Because there's so many distractions in Miami. So, oh boy.
But apparently there's also surveillance footage of this incident. So probably after the investigation, that stuff's going to leak, or TMZ will have it out at some point. I like Mike McDaniels. He is a younger guy though. He does seem like he wants to be friends with players quite a bit, and a coach, obviously. So we'll see if that strategy ends up working out. Right now, this is not a good play in that department. So we'll see.
No, I don't think that vibe's good for that market. I think you just need someone. Whatever. Don't got it.
Bring back Bill Parcells.
Yeah. Whoa, Do you is Tyreek Hill going to bleed into this Brickhead, or you got someone new for Brickhead?
No, you know what? I could leave it with Tyreek Hill, but I'm going to go in the CFL, and I'm going to go to Chris Edwards, who you kind of talked about earlier in Hamilton with his, following the whistle, game's over, shoves, Austin Mack with a 2-hand shove into the chest area. After I believe it was Edwards was going for the handshake. And then Austin Mack was going back to reciprocate, and then he shoved him. So wow, terrible. Chris Edwards, you're my Brickhead of the week.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a shout out to the newest Winnipeg Blue Bomber Hall of Famer, Justin Medlock, an amazing career, championship kicker. He's probably the most efficient kicker I've seen play in Winnipeg.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to watch Trevor Kenner and Troy Westwood play as well.
Yeah.
What? I just said, sorry. Didn't mean to blip it like that. There. I know. And not that I forgot his name, but Justin Medlock was just stratosphere above the other kickers. 86% career, 767 points. Amazing. So shout out to Justin Medlock, the newest.
Sorry to interrupt. And that's just numbers with the Bombers, right? It wasn't anywhere else. So
exactly.
Yeah.
That's just Bomber numbers. All-Star award winner.
Great. It was money Medlock.
Exactly. We knew it. Oh man, it was so hard the next year when he did come back. We're like, Castillo, thank you for coming back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Benny again. Benny, you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider, and have a good one.
And don't forget to join us later this week on YouTube for our CFL Week 4 preview. Smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you soon. Oh, LeVar Burton, we'll see you next time. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.